Brahma bhutodhigacchati. Yaha, they're still figuring it out. Oh, it is working. You can hear me? Okay. That way I don't need to shout a lot. Yaha antaha sukhaha antaha antara ramaha tatha antarjyotireva yaha sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhutodi gacchati. I am not the main character in the Batman movie which is making these sounds. I have switched it off. Oh, can you hear me? Did you see the temporary measure they have given me? This is called Jugad. Now I showed them. I have a very deep inventory of things lost and found. They're yet to be found. No, I already see. Ena kena prakarena. To understand the concept in this particular shloka, recently I read a beautiful article. And I had posted that in some places as well. So the article was, in a university, in a psychology class, this lady was asked, this girl was asked, and she had come with her husband. She asked, are you happy with your husband? And she got up to answer, and the husband was feeling like, I've never ticked her off. She has always been happy. She has never complained. So her answer was something very amazing. She said, no, my husband does not make me happy. And the husband immediately like, I'm sitting right here. And she looked at him, and it continued saying that for those of you who feel shocked, let me reiterate, my husband does not make me happy. I come from that school of thought which teaches us that it is not the husband or the wife that makes you happy. It is that you are the nature of happiness, and with that happiness you interact with anything that you have to interact with, whether it is things or beings. This idea, this concept is a paradigm shift. Because so far we have been constantly conditioned, constantly misinformed that our happiness is out there. And the entire industry has picked on this idea of advertising to show that if you have to be happy, you have to have these things. That is when you can be happy. If you have to be happy, you have to have this kind of a house, this kind of a car. Just to prove the point, how many of you here drive a Ford or a GMC, or what is the third one? A Chevy. Anybody? Case in point. Even that was a shock. So the concept that we are embedded in, wedded to. The second question is something to do with the space that we live in, either the space that we live in or the space that we want to live in. Anything less than 2000 square feet. Raise your hand. Apartments are still there. Which one? You don't have to be a handyman. You don't have to do anything by yourself. I get your point. I get your point. So we constantly driven into a condition wherein what gives us happiness is not defined by us. It is imposed on us, and we are in this, I call this as a, what do you call, the treadmill syndrome. What is a treadmill syndrome? You keep running and running and running, reaching nowhere. Wherever you start, you end there. Both literally and figuratively. Meaning the figure also remains the same. So this treadmill syndrome that which we are in, wherein we have been sold to the concept that my happiness is out there in the things, the kind of things, in the beings, in the place. What this shloka is saying is a paradigm shift. Yaha, that one who understands antaha sukhaha, very important statement being made, that my state of happiness, I'm glad your children are not here today. If you are angry at them and you say that, I'm not happy with you, son. And imagine if your son were to repeat this shloka back to you. Yontas sukhontara ramaha tathantar jyotirevayaha. Dad, grow up. that would be a checkmate for all of you. It did happen once in a camp. I was doing the ladder of fall, which is a 6th grade syllabus, I think. So the mother scolded the child for being very indisciplined and not keeping things properly. And the child, it seems, retaliated back with chanting these 2 shlokas of the ladder of fall. Mom, you are not agitated because I am indisciplined. It is because of your expectations that you are agitated. It is because of your desire to see me perfect, because of which you are agitated. It can be a devil's advocate, so be careful. Yaha antaha sukha. The one who comes to realize, the one comes to understand that my state of happiness is independent of things, beings, including my own actions, my own equipment of body, mind, and intellect. It's independent of that. So in that famous dialogue of, is it Trishul? दीवार, मेरे पास गाड़ी है, बंगला है, सूट है. After listening to this shloka, the answer should be मेरे पास सुख है. I have happiness. Because it is independent of those things listed. More importantly, that the interaction with all these things, beings, places, and environments, the interaction, the actions that we perform, my happiness is independent of those actions as well. That is why in Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, when we saw, where Bhagavan says, Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. The karma that we perform anticipating happiness. That happiness is not there as the result of action. Actions cannot, will not, shall not produce that happiness. Antaha sukhaha. It is not a state of mind. Mind is also a tool. If we think that our mind is the place where we produce happiness, the local dialect, the American language, they say, don't be a tool. Do you know what it means? Being a tool is like being a fool. Mind is a tool. To think that that mind will produce happiness, the mind also cannot produce happiness. Antaha sukhaha. Something more deeper than the mind or the intellect. Deeper than the mind or the intellect are our memories. Can memories produce happiness? It depends, right? What you are reminding yourself of. That day when you got married. Oh. Now your reactions change, huh? Thanks. Recently, somebody got married on January 26th. It was a Republic Day. I said, what a day to get bound in marriage. Congratulations. But your smiles were a photo worthy. The moment I said that day when you got married. Neither that memory can produce that happiness. In fact, happiness is not a product of anything. It is not a state of mind. It is not produced through actions. The outside world of things, beings, environments, experiences cannot bring that happiness. So where is that happiness? Antaha sukhaha. The deepest core of our existence is this treasure of my own true nature, which is of the nature of happiness. If somebody were to give you a map and say, your ancestral treasure, your ancestors were very rich and they had hidden this treasure, here is the map for it. I have saved it because your father had promised me that the day when you get married and have 2 kids, that is when I had to give you this. So here is the treasure. What will be your priority? ठीक है. You put that aside and then go on with your life. If you truly trust that person who has come to give you the map of that treasure, what would be your question? Sahi mein na? Is it real? I said, of course it is. How much is this treasure? You, your next generation and the generation after that will not be able to exhaust it. Seriously? How difficult is it to reach to this treasure? It is right in this house behind. So where would your attention, focus and effort be? Come on. Acquiring the treasure? That is what he is trying to say. That sukha which we are trying to find, trying to realize, trying to gain, trying to search, where is it? It is my own true nature. Antararamaha. Antararamaha. That because of which, when we experience the world of things, beings and the extended experiences outside, it reveals itself sometimes. Therefore, I feel the sense of happiness when I interact. It's not because that vastu can give me happiness. It is not because that vyakti can give me that happiness. It is because of my own true nature which reflects that gives that happiness. Antararamaha. How will I find it? If it is inside, how will I find it? Are there any markers? Are there any flags? Are there any pointers for me to recognize that? If I ask any one of you to go outside and say, check if the sun is visible, does anybody need a marker? Do you need a flashlight? Do you need a laser pointer? I'm just making up things now. Do you need anything to go recognize that sun? Even if there is a person, you may come up with a logic, oh, I know what is sun. This, what you're talking, I don't know. Even for a person that has not ever experienced a sun, even for them to identify, it will be glowing, illumining. You're saying that, but how will I know? That will be the only thing illumining there. If you find this ball of illumination out there, that is sun. Go find if it is visible or not. Would it require any other directive? It is self-evident. Similarly, here he says, Antar Jyotihi eva yaha. This is self-illumining. It illumines, it is the brightness from within. In fact, are you all listening to me? Are you all understanding what I'm saying? I also hope. At least sometimes. How do you know that you understood what you understood? Then sit on this side. I'm just pulling your leg. You said you are listening, you are understanding. How do you know that you understood what you understood? Yo. Let us not unnecessarily complicate this. This is a simple logic that I'm asking. You said you understood. How do you know that you understood? You just know that you understood it. How do you know that you are processing it? An undoubted state of my understanding. I know that I have understood. Right? That knowing is called the illumination. Antar Jyoti, it is not like there is a mashal inside. Mashal is like, what do you call it? A torch. There is no torch inside. And that would have been good. Nobody would have to smoke. Because if there was a torch inside, or you would be like a dragon. And sometimes when you do get angry, you have that inner fire coming out. Antar Jyotihi. It has got nothing with that kind. It is this knowing aspect which illumines your understanding. In fact, it also illumines your inability to understand. I know that I did not understand. Not at all. So at this point, I have to go visit the high schoolers, and they will be initiated into a japa process. So every year the ninth graders are given japa mala. So if you see it lying around, please keep it in a sacred place. So I'll go teach them that. I'll continue this next week. Om Shant Shant Shanti Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.